for retired teachers that were actually still interested in teaching, and they were older, but they gave it all that they had. And this was more down in the Perrine area when I started. So so imagine working night shift all night, get off at 8 o'clock, and then run down there every morning, 40 miles or whatever from Broward County all the way to South Florida, down in Perrine area. But that's how we started, mostly with retired teachers. Then we filled in the spaces with secretaries, and then those that we'll get maybe some that still in the school got their bachelor's degree, because with the private school system you don't have to necessarily be certified. Um, and those that might not be able to pass their certification, it's a great thing because they can come in and work for us. But you do have to have your bachelor's degree, or you have to have some experience in the private school setting, teaching, or in that field. Like um, if you're certified in something special or whatever, like say you want to do AC repair, and you got a guy that's licensed, he can teach that as long as he has his passed the background screening and all that. But that's the norm. We'll get into that later also, as far as what all you need to do to actually open up school. So, but that's how we came across most of our teachers, just retired teachers, and then those that are young, just getting out of college, that wanted to, just jump right into it, because they're really ready to go.
Yes,
So, and they're, if they can't get right in with the school board, if they couldn't pass that certification test, hey,
yes,
we were here. Say, hey, we welcome you with open arms. So, yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yes, sir, man. That's beautiful. Just be able to go and see who in the world is looking for the need to, serve their community with schooling and teaching, and to
hmm
get them right when they come out and are looking for opportunities to be able to put them on the team, man. That's a beautiful process right
hmm
there. And so for people, who are invested in the mission of establishing their own school, what advice would you give them toward the first step that they should make? I mean, just right after the idea, what's the first step that you should make?
okay. So that's a question I always get from people that always asking me, like, what I need to do.
Yes, sir.
And the first thing I ask them, like, if you ever watch YouTubes and motivational speakers and all that, they always tell you, don't go in it for the money.
That's right.
So if you're not going it because you love it or like it, or at least have some type of love for it as a hobby, at least
Yes.
don't go in it for the money. I tell people all the time, I've been fortunate enough and I'm blessed. I always say I'm blessed enough that I was able to continue a full time job and be able to do this, because there were times when it's like it's time to make payroll, and and
Yes.
and I always tell them I commend myself that I've never missed a payroll since I've been doing this, and even if it took counting pennies and dollars on the floor, you know. But
That's
I never missed a payroll um, since I've been doing this since 2005. So I consider that a blessing. It's kind of hard to do that in a lot of businesses,
Mhm.
and so what I tell them is don't go in it for the money.
Yes,
Get a
sir.
budget. Make sure you're sure this is something that you want to do, because there might be a time where you might not, financially be able to make it, and you need to be able to, people want to get paid, and the,
That's right.
the workers might not see it as an investment or your business, but they see it as a job, and you have to treat them as family employees. But they need to, by law, you have to pay them if they work. If they earn those wages, you have to pay them. So you have to be mindful of that. So I tell them to make sure you don't go in it for the money, but have a budget. Have
That's
a budget on what you're trying to do,
right.
and it could be a little expensive to get started, because of
Mhm.
course you have to get the building and different other things, like I'll explain later as well. Because when I
Yes.
start getting to that part of it, they might want to write that stuff down.
Yes, sir.
So but just have a budget, and have a love for it. Don't just do it for the money,
That's right.
because it will get you frustrated, and you tend to do things that you don't want to do, and it might come back on and bite you. So
That's right.
yeah,
Man, lovely
hon-
advice, my brother.
honestly.
Yeah, didn't something to add to it, big brother?
No, I was just saying that's just honestly how like what I tell them because I get those questions all the time.
Yes, sir.
Just matter of fact, last week somebody came to visit to
Yes.
just to do a walkthrough to say how do you do it, and they're trying to do it in Palm Beach. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Man, so definitely get that budget right, people. Make
Mhm.
sure that you got some leeway and some capital behind even the mistakes that you may make, man. You wanna have something to keep you with that within that safety net.
Yes, sir.
And we thank you for that answer, my brother. And for what kind of contracts or regulations need to be implemented to get that started, and if anything within that causes a little difficulty toward completing that process, if you can state what are some difficulties within the contracts and regulations behind starting your own private school.
Okay, so contract. I mean, there's not really a major contract, unless you're going in with some partners, of
Mhm.
course. And like I say, you want to make sure you have um get you a lawyer. You guys should get a lawyer to draft up what
Mhm.
things that's going to be who's going to be responsible for what. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
like I say, when you start out and you're just doing something, and when you have to one day you have that audit come and you have to be prepared.
Yes,
You like,
sir.
how is this all on me? I'm just an investor.
Yes,
But
sir.
they don't care. They like, okay, you work and somebody got to pay this, and you learn from different things that, I've learned a lot over the time, but the contract, especially if most people go into this, with a partner, even if you're going into a partner that's just who's going to invest in the business, with you. Make sure your contract is spelled out, the way that it needs to be. Of course, if you're not buying a building or you're leasing a building, you definitely want to make sure you know what all you can and cannot do within that building, and you want to make sure you and the landlord on a understanding, and that lease is spelled out. And you definitely need a lawyer for the lease. You might like, oh, this is a lease. No, it's not like you're moving into an apartment.
Come on.
This lease needs to be. There's a lot more stuff that comes with a commercial lease than it does with a just moving into an apartment or a residential area.
Yes, sir.
So those are the simple, pretty much. I think the contracts that I kind of have that I you know had to deal with over the years. Nothing major. Only like I say, only person. My wife came on in 2007. From 2005 to 2007, she saw me sweat. She saw me can't sleep, and like I say, that's all because I didn't have everything lined up in order. And
Yes.
2007, I kind of went on my own, and it's been uphill. It's been an uphill battle, but it's been constantly. It's like the stock market, up and down, but it's mostly been climbing over the years. So
Yes.
those are pretty much the contracts. And I missed what the second part of that question was. You said the contracts and something else that you might need, correct?
Right. Or what within establishing the necessary contracts and the regulations that they throw
Oh,
at you, what part of it can be difficult?
um, one of the other things, in the state of Florida, and I'm only going to speak for the state of Florida because I only know theirs. Um, you have to have fiscal soundness, meaning you have to be able to show that you can financially carry that school just in case they don't you don't get that disbursement or something, you fall out of compliance, that you're able going to be able to continue until you get back into compliance.
Mhm.
And if you don't have the financial backing, i.e., a surety bond or a letter of credit from the bank, 9 times out of 10 they won't. That's one of the things that have to deal with. Of course, your background. You have to do a background screening, um, but that's pretty much if you're clean and you don't have anything major that would not pass a level 2 background, then you'll be just fine. Um, it's amazing that I didn't know that, they would not allow you. And if you're a 20% owner of the business, whether you're never there or not,
Yes, sir.
all owners have to, anybody 20% or more of that business needs to get a background screening. So be mindful, say I have a silent partner or whatever,
Yes,
there's
sir.
ways of doing things, but always, like I say, get your attorney involved, and then you'll be okay.
Yes.
Um, yeah, you'll be just fine. What else do you need? The basic things, the county, the city, zoning, building, all those type of things.
Okay.
Those are really that's the longest process.
Okay.
Once getting the school code and deciding on what you want to name the school is pretty simple.
Yes, sir.
But then trying to get your business certificate and what's the other one? They call it that, business receipt and certificate of use. Those are the things that you have to deal with the county. So you will
Okay.
have, and especially Durham, because once you start putting students in the building, the usage goes up for that building, unless it's already was zoned for that. So you have to
Mm,
go through it's a process. It's not like you just walk in tomorrow, and all those things have to be um, completed before you can before Tallahassee actually, they'll give you a school code, but to actually get to be in order to be or get funded through them or participate in any types of their programs, you have to have all that stuff in place. And every year, I can tell you stories, but the things that they ask now, um,
yes, sir.
those things that I wouldn't say because of me, but being in business and partnering with other people in the past,
Mhm. Yes, sir.
um, and not really listen to everything that I was trying to guide them in, wind up getting everybody having to do certain things and having laws to be changed and all that type of stuff. But of
Yes.
course, I weathered the storm, and as being the leader, the head of it, I took it on my back, and I just say, hey, I'll deal with it and I get it. But I let everybody else know, like, hey, and especially if I know where it came from, I address them and say, hey, but I'm gonna man up and be the fall guy, even
Yes.
though it wasn't me, because of course, as I could say, majority of the time, I've never been at the school on a Monday through Friday. Once I got it established after like 2009, 2010, I kind of let the staff run it themselves. My wife started working there, on more full basis. We changed staff over the years. Things didn't work out. You had to find people that still had the mission and the vision of the school in place, and
Yes.
try to keep the integrity there. And so now, for some reason, since COVID hit, I'm back at the school more now. So I'm there during the day and back on AT&T. That's why I say it's like the scheduling. They didn't even have the scheduling. Now it just came out of nowhere, and I was like, hey, put me back on it because I need to go back and help assist. Because
Yes, sir.
for some reason, unemployment. I don't know. I don't keep up with that, but it's hard to get people in the door to come sit down and come to work every day. I don't know. So it's just,
Yes,
I guess
sir.
that's the time that we're in.
Yes.
But
Yes.
those little things, like I say, your background, your fiscal soundness, meaning you have to be able to carry that school. Basically, if you're going to get funding from the state, if that's what you're looking for, you need to be able to, just in case something happens or you default,
Yes.
and they require the repayment or whatever, you have to have those bonds in place, and that's only for the first 3 years, which it seemed like a long time. And depending on your experience, the insurance company is just like any other insurance. They vet you and see if they can insure you and what rate they'll insure you at. And like I say, I'll give this them out here. When I first started, and when they started asking about the surety bond thing, and I was a lot younger then, like
Yes.
30 years old then.
Did you need any kind of professional like to help out with what it meant to process what was a suitable zone, or or somebody behind that, or is that just something that you all as a collective learned to do through, you know, just searching for real estate opportunities that would allow you to do that? Or did you bring in a professional to help you sort of figure that out?
I brought a realtor in just to look for a building.
Okay. Yes, sir.
But
Yes.
like I say, I started in Perrine 2005. Then we moved to Overtown. We had both schools, one in Perrine, one in Overtown.
Yes.
And back then we were called Choice Learning Academy, not Center of Life Academy. Once I broke off on my own, became Center of Life Academy, but we were Choice Learning Academy, and wind up selling the one, you know, getting bought out. I asked to get bought out of the one down south, and I kept the one in Overtown. And then eventually we were in the Miami Rescue Mission building. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Then in 2014, they decided that they were going to start their own school, which was all right. You know, I mean, it was like a last minute at the end of the year, like, yeah, we're not going to renew the lease. I was like, oh, wow. And I wish I was financially stable back then, because that's right over in Wynwood. And he used to sit down and say, hey, you ever thought about buying one of these warehouses? And, you know, commercial real estate is a lot tougher than buying single family homes and residential. So it takes a lot more. And honestly, I wasn't qualified to do that at the time. So like I say, with the grace of God, I found a realtor. And the thing is, the building that I'm in now in Liberty City, I actually found that building just riding and praying, like riding and praying, almost tears in my eyes, because I'm like, man, school is the summertime. I mean, it's like June.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm like, and I'm asking him, like, can we just stay to one more school year? You're not starting up. I can help you get it started. And I guess they boy was like, no, but they allowed me to stay during the summer to actually, so my parents can, you know, we can still register them and keep them in the loop, and which was a great thing. And he actually let me stay there for free during the summer. So I was like, I was like, thank you, you know, and found it and just went through the process, running day to day, like I say, and getting my wife and some other people that she knew that can go to the counties and zoning, and when I couldn't go and talk to the people and run calculations and see what else we had to get, you know, and redo the drawings and all this type of stuff. But it's a process, and it's work. And people think they just, you know, they say, and like, I'm like, I can help you. Only thing is, do I have the energy to go do that now? Maybe, I don't know. You know, but I have to read your heart and see if you're really into it, or are you just speaking on how much money it's going to make, you know, which is not wrong. You future forecasting, but I always want to see what's in your heart first. And that's how, you know, and let me say this, because over the years, you know, I had a guy that, you know, a few guys around me who knew more about this than I did, some kind of way, but at least they talked better than I did. You know, they spoke better than I did. And they told me, man, you can't be telling all the secrets. You can't tell the what they call it, the trade secrets. I was like, the trade secrets. I was like, why not? You know, yeah, competition. I mean, me, my building can only hold so many. You know,
that's right. Come on.
I wish I could open up multiple schools, which I probably can. But you know, I always tell people also, you know, what's your stress level, and what's your level of how much stress? Because I've had nights where I sat there stressing, went from perfectly healthy to like sick.
Yes, sir.
And my wife saw that, and she was like, she always come. I lay on the couch. I can't even get into bed, so she'll come in and comfort me and say, you know, and it's just weird. I wake up and have dreams and sweating, and she's like, "You all right?" And she'll be sitting there watching TV. I'm like, "Yeah."
Yes.
It's my mind running, and people, you know, I try to explain it, and I don't mind telling that story, because if you don't hear it, you think and you're gonna constantly call me, and then and I'm telling you to do it this way or do it this way, and you wind up doing it another way, then we wind up with more laws and regulations because of things that you try to get around when
Yes, sir.
why try to get around it and just, you know, just
That's
be a
right.
little patient and like I say, if you're doing it from the heart, it'll all work itself out.
That's right.
So
Yes, sir.
I don't know.
And I
Like I said,
definitely
I could be long winded on it because when I'm talking to people about it, I
yes,
almost had to cut myself off and say, hey, I have something to do.
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, man, it's a lot of stories behind it, you know.
Definitely. You know, we
You
had
know?
some brothers up in Georgia. They were
Mhm.
acquiring land in northern parts of Georgia, and from what they were doing, since it would be independently black owned and operated,
Mhm.
some of the outside forces coerced to put new laws in that area, specific areas where they were buying land, so that they wouldn't be able to produce housing. Uh,
Right,
uh,
right.
and things of that nature. And so they moved themselves down to the southern part of Georgia. And they have over 450 acres of land now
That's
that
awesome.
they're working to cultivate. So we definitely understand why, man. You need to do things the right way and know the laws and guidelines behind the area that you're in. So,
Yeah,
man, that's beautiful. We don't want anybody watching this to be able to fall upon that stump of laws, you know, because that's
right.
something that you really can't get around, you know, because it's a law. So, you know,
Yes, sir.
we appreciate you expounding on that, dear brother. And what's some things you had to do and continue to do to acquire funding for the school?
Well, of course, uh, well, let me start with with this. Every year you have to go through a compliance checklist
Okay.
every year. Um, you have to do your annual survey, you know, which is pretty much you just saying from the previous year, who do you serve, what, you know, what geographic, what
Mm,
location, what type of students you accept. Those are the things you have to answer on the survey. Then you have to do your scholarship compliance
mhm.
um, form every year. Also, both of these have to be notarized, and those when on the compliance form, that's when you answer your health inspection. Have you gotten this done? Are you on the well? Um, everybody's been background screened. Have everybody been trained in ethics and education policy?
Yes.
Did you do your radon testing? Did you have your up-to-date fire? You
Mhm.
know, did you update your fee schedule? You
Yes.
know, because these are the things that they post on they post on the Florida Department of Education. So when a parent like, hey, I'm interested in going to a private school or charter school, and I want to be able to see if I can get maybe a scholarship or some type of assistance from one of your programs, and they'll look on and see who's in the area, you know, per zip code or see if that school, the school that they interested in, is in compliance. So every year by May, how I want to say it, March 1st, you have to have all your information in. So you
Okay.
have to have all the information in, all those things. No, let me go back. By March 1st, you have to already completed your survey and your compliance form checklist. Then they give you 60 days. May 1st, you have to have anything that needs to be corrected. You have to submit it, you know, or anything that needs to be submitted, i.e., the actual health inspection
Yes.
and the actual fire inspection. And if it's your 5th year, they call it a full compliance. Sometimes you have a regular renewal where it's
Oh,
just a health inspection, fire inspection, and the compliance forms and the survey. But when you have a full renewal, that's where you have to go through the whole. It's like almost starting a school over in a sense. So
yeah.
on the 5th year, all the owners, 20% or more, have to be do another background check, submit that. They require them to the surety bond is one thing you never have to do again. Once you pass that 3-year threshold, unless you sell or you change the business.
Mhm.
Now that's another key. So someone might try to change ownership, you know, and take it from one business and change the name. You legally have to process, fill out the form that you're changing that, and then they. I'm not. I haven't done it yet, so I'm not sure. I have to read up on that. I don't want to get, but I know that I remember that if you change it to a different business, like someone like if I sell it to you, you
Mhm.
have because you never been in the business, so now they have to trust that you're able to do the same thing that Mr. Sweeting's been doing for the last few years,
Right.
and then you'll have to get your own surety bond to cover you for the next 3 years or your letter of credit from the bank.
Oh,
So, but you never have to do that again once you actually submit that. Oh, the other thing, the background, you had to have a contract with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement because you have to have your employees' background. So they give you a number for that. Um, every year, your staff has to be trained on ethics and education policies and procedures. So if anything happens to any one of the students, how to report anything, if you see something,
yes.
um, and every so often they might require you to do the radon testing. Usually they don't make you do it, but I just had to do it 2 years ago when my last 5 years. So I think now they're making you do the radon every 5 years of your building. But the health inspection and fire inspection, that's every year. So you have to just stay on top of that. And if you miss it and you don't get that stuff in May 1st, hopefully you have somebody in Tallahassee that's kind of generous and say, okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's COVID, or in this case right now, we just had a new regional manager. That's the other lady, she got promoted, so they have a new regional manager. So a lot of things are backed up because the new person is in training, and he'll send out an email saying, "Hey, look, if the fire department or whatever sent it in, um, we'll get to it. Just be patient with us." So that way, because by now, usually they already, well, not by now, but by July, mid-June, they'll let you know they'll send you out a letter saying you're in compliance once they get your forms. So, but right now they're doing a transition from one person to the next. So those are some of the things that you have to deal with annually, and over that you constantly have to deal with while you're running this school. So you have to learn those dates because if you miss those dates, it could cost you, a financial burden. So,
Okay, yes, sir. So obviously with a private school,
mhm.
there's an admission for the school to be enrolled in it, and
Yes,
you
sir.
all are able to get support from the city as well. If
No, just the Tallahassee.
Mhm.
Um, like I say, the Department of Education, how they deal with the public system is a little different. How they deal with the private system. I'm not sure. Like I say, I don't know how charter schools receive their funding, but the public gets it through their FTE count. When they do the FTE counts throughout the year, so they
Mhm.
get theirs from their district, of course, because the district gets it from the state. The state deals directly with the private schools, and
Mhm.
we have to deal directly with them. Also, there's a scholarship that goes through the Department of Education based on your compliance each year, and then they award students that go to your school. Long as you're in compliance and that parent chooses to go to your school, they can, and you're in compliance and you accept those scholarships, they'll allow those funds to come to you and to support that child's education and help offset some of the costs that they have to pay out of pocket. So,
Okay. Yes,
mhm.
sir. So that engine is really ran by the people who are enrolled into that private school. That's the engine that keeps it functioning. Okay,
Yes.
man, that's beautiful. That's as simple as it does get, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Man, you give a valuable education, and people see the product of what's coming out of the school, so they are willing to invest in the future of their children to be able
Yeah.
to get that outcome. So,
Yeah.
man, it isn't that hard. It's, cooperative economics and community development all in one, you know.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
man, we appreciate that beautiful breakdown. And I want to get into the mindset of what it's taking to build, sustain, and make a successful school. Can you tell us about the importance of these 6 implemented principles that shape the culture of this school, and what are the effect of these principles on the students and the faculty?
Okay. Um, well, one of the principles that we focus on, and one of the things I always let my staff know is, you know, even though we're in a service environment where we're serving our students and our parents, we have to make sure that our product is A1. you know,
Yes,
and our
sir.
product is education, you know,
That's right.
educating students. So you have to make sure you on top of your lessons, make sure you know, you make it exciting. Um, you know, we get a lot of students that, you know, might be behind, but we try our best to, like I say, we try to make it a family knit type thing. That
That's
way, the you know, the parent, and we'll speak. I don't really want to speak about the parent, but you know, dealing with, you know, the students, we want them to feel comfortable enough where they can say, "Hey, look, um, Miss So and So, you know, really can help me," or I can give Miss So and So a call maybe after hours, and they'll be willing to answer and not be like, "I don't want to deal. I don't. I'm off and I'm done." You know,
right.
we, you know, you know, I've heard stories. My wife gets calls all day. You know, it was time when I used to tell her change the phone number. You know, but I mean like all day. Um, the other thing is, you know, there was up and down times. I always tell them to have faith, you know,
Mhm.
have faith in God that, you know, and they see over the years of the, you know, the ups and downs, and sometimes they can almost see it on me, but I kind of never let it show. And they always say, man, like you have some kind, it's like something with you is like it always seems to work out for you. And
Mm.
I'm like, you know, I don't, I'm no different than you, my brother, or anyone else. It's just, you know, I try to do, always been this way, try to do it the right way.
Yes.
Um, you know, I've been always been patient. You know, I never liked anything too quick because I don't know what to do with it when it comes too quick. So you
Yes,
know,
sir.
but I know if I put a plan to it and it's working its way out, the plan is working itself out, and there's a small hiccup, I still stick to the plan, and I might tweak it here and there. But I'm looking at the end result where I want to be, i.e., if I wanted to grow this business, you know, from the first 30 students that we had, or the 50 to 150, and then keeping them, you know, um, you have to, you know, and one of the other things I always teach them to be fair, you know, even though, you know, sometimes the parents can rub you the wrong way, but
Hmm.
we always have to stay professional, and we have to understand that we have to always give the students the opportunity to speak. They are we are. I- I'm a black guy that grew up in the inner city. You know, Daniel's not no Beverly Hills, so you know, and everybody has their struggles, and everybody's trying to survive. And
That's
even if you are living in a great community, or well off or whatever, you still have the stresses of everyday life. And we try not to bring that with us to the school, but we want to make sure we don't just constantly bombard the student, even when they're doing something that might seem like just going to make you know, unless it's hurtful and detrimental to the safety of the school.
right.
We want to deal with it and be able to let them state their case, because a
That's
lot of times we don't get to state our case before we're
that's
like, yeah, and do it, and we
come on.
don't want that. So
That's
we
right.
want to allow them to state their case, and this way, when they state their case, the next time that comes up and you explain to them the consequences and how to deal with it, and they
That's
still continue that way. Now, what happened? You told me last time, so were you not telling me the truth that time or not? So you know, that's how we build that relationship, like the father figure type. You know, you're gonna either. So
yes.
that's, you know, that's something that we do there. Um, what else do I, you know, another principle that I give them to stand on? Man, over the years, there's so many. You know.
Yes, sir.
Um,
I'm gonna pull it up on I'm gonna pull up the page
yeah.
uh on my screen so that they
Hmm.
may be able to see these
Are you on the .net or the dot? Which one are you on?
.net
Yeah.
.net.
Hmm.
Yes. Yep. So we got here respect, self-discipline, focus, confidence, safety, and
Oh
leadership.
yeah, the
Man,
confidence side. Yeah,
yes.
well, the confidence side is, you know, we always, like I say, our school, you know, when I first started, you know, when I was first really at the very beginning, a lot of people say, oh, you know, is it some type of alternative school? And that's one thing I did not want to have, that stigma on our school.
That's right.
So I'd say, look, when people ask me, I say, no, we're not alternative. You know,
That's right.
you know, we have another alternative for you,
Come
but we're not
on.
alternative, you know.
That's
So, and one of the things, you know, students used to always hear that, and they used to think that. And I always speak about confidence. You know, I always tell them, you know, you have to believe, you know, that whatever reason you feel like your parent or whatever took you out of public school, or you couldn't, you know, handle it, or you might feel like you're behind. If you have confidence and you believe that you can do it, I mean, who's to stop you? You know,
that's
you determine how far you want to go with this. You
that's
determine if you really want to, you know, succeed, and what your success rate or success level is. So, you know, and someone told me that when I was little, and I was kind of the short guy, and I used to, you know, jump over this fence, and I said, he saw me one day trying to jump over. We was out there running, and he said, "Hey man, you just got to have confidence." I was like,
that's
what is that? You know,
come
he's like,
on.
you just got to believe that you could do it and see yourself going over that gate. I tell
That's
you, know, like within the next 2 days, I jumped over that gate, no
man.
hands. It was like now I'm teaching, and then I would start teaching other children in my neighborhood, same age as me, how to do that. It was something that sparked me. So that's one of the things that, you know, that I talk about a lot. As far as the safety, you know, again, that's part of our product, you know, and we always, you know, make sure our students are safe, um, put in a place of where, you know, I tell the parents, and my staff knows this. Some of the things we let them know from the very hello, oh, you there? From the very beginning, to remember, you know, we don't we don't we don't deal with drugs. We don't deal with weapons, and we don't deal with the gang related issues. I mean, so if you come in with those mentality, you need to let us know now. Hello?
Yes, sir. Sorry, big brother. I don't know what went wrong with the system, but it
Oh, I
it
was still
blocked.
talking. It started showing me. But what I was saying with
Yes,
the
sir.
safety, one of the ways that we keep a lot of things safe, we when they come in for the interview, we make it known.
Yes.
We don't deal with no drugs.
Wow,
We
that's
don't
right.
deal with no weapons, guns, or anything in the building in here. And we don't allow the gang paraphernalia or anything of that nature. So if that's something that you're doing out there, you're not allowed in here with that. You know, we don't have one parent who actually said, "Well, yeah, and she meant to say, yeah, he's in the game real heavily," and she was like, "I don't think he's gonna work here. I think it'll work out for him," and he didn't. I mean, you know, you want to beg, but if the parents like, she like, you know, because I guess he had a rep of being around and having that issue in school or whatever. But with me saying that, over the years, I honestly can say this. And when I first joined the Brotherhood, I used to tell them this. A lot of our students, they might be in gangs outside of the school,
Mhm.
and they might be beefing with each other, but
Come
they
on.
be in the same classroom,
That's right.
and they know we have zero tolerance for it,
Yes.
and they want to be there, you
Mhm.
know, because it's so easy not to come there,
That's
but
right,
they still come.
man.
And when they come, it's like my job is to keep them safe, and if I can't do that, then you know I'm not doing a service to our student and staff. The leadership aspect, you know, I pride myself on that a little, but I also train others to want to take the place of me, you know,
Mhm.
and make it happen, you know, because like I say, for years I wasn't there. You know, once I got it established, I wind up, you know, going back onto my regular shift during the day and allow them to, you know, run the school the way they need.
Yes.
Unfortunately, like I say, COVID kind of hit us with the, you know, the staff side of it, but from
Yes.
there, you know, we're still making it work. So
That's right. Yes,
mhm.
sir. Man, beautiful answer, my brother. And you know, if y'all want to go and check out um the school website, man, y'all can go to centeroflifeacademy.net just to go
Mhm.
and study some more of these things yourself and get a good look for yourself what it's about. And as we go to the next question, I'd like to ask you, how important are teachers to the progression and staying and sustainability of a school, and what's the most challenging thing that occurs when dealing with teachers?
Um, well, the teachers are, we had some great teachers over the years, um, and they they really they really love those students, man. It's like
Oh,
their heart is, like I say, when you come in, we try to treat it as family. And most of the time, a lot of our students are literally family. Like we
yes,
have
sir.
the mom, the cousin,
That's
the
right.
auntie, all their children will be there. So we'll have a family of 10. So of
Wow.
course you don't want to cater to them, but you want to make sure that, if this parent is hostile a lot, then you
Mhm.
want to, talk with the other family member, because they're when one family member group of family come and another one come, they all talking to each other, and that's why they all come in there. So hey, bring your
Yes,
student to
sir.
Center of Life Academy. That's honestly, that's how we get most of our children. We market and stuff, but word of mouth is has always been our stronghold.
That's
And our teachers, like I say, they answer they answer the phone when they I mean they're not
mhm.
even at the school. They answering the phone. Like they're like
Oh,
the parent, like it's like they know them. I mean, we all from the same area, so
right.
why not? I'm gonna see you anyway. I might see you at public. So we don't
Mhm.
want to keep it like, oh, I live in Coral Springs, and I'm coming down to Liberty City. No, we in this same little area, so it's like
Yes, sir.
everybody knows everybody. So that's how we keep it, like I say, as a family. And the only other thing, trying to eh, hold on to some of the teachers, life. Um, how would I say this? Like I said, we don't make near as much as the public school system, and
Mhm.
you know one of the things that I kind of do try to do at Center of Life is to offer some type of health benefits or whatever. But as life goes on and things progress, people want to advance themselves, and that's one thing I'm big on. If you can go,
That's
you want to
right.
go back to school, and
Mhm.
and you want to, find something else to do. If you can't, if that's what you want to do, if it's just temporary, like I say, we get those students that come straight out of school or whatever, and I know if they can pass that certification and
Mhm.
make an extra, amount of money, then I'm able to pay. I'm not gonna like, oh, you can't leave.
That's right.
I don't want you to leave. Trust
Yes,
me,
sir.
it's a lot of them. I wish I could call back, and I wish them well.
Yes,
I,
sir.
I I really do. They honestly know that, and
Mhm.
but and even then, a few of them still help us.
Yes, sir.
They don't work there, but they still help us, and they
Yeah,
still wonder why. Hey, when is the end of the year dinner? Because
that's
can I
right.
bring a guest? Like, hold on, you don't work here anymore. And they're
Mhm.
like, yes, I do.
Ah, ha, ha, ha. Man, that just calls out to the the family environment, man. How much
Yeah,
success you can
yeah,
have when the culture of a school is set behind principles rather than
yeah,
a financial goal. When you have the heart to be able to successfully take students and make them successful through your form of education, it
yeah.
seems like everything you don't really have to keep people whose hearts and who
Right,
give their life to this mission. You don't really have to supervise them. You just got to make sure that the operations are going well and they
correct.
really take care of the atmosphere. Man, that is
Yeah, yeah,
amazing. So
yeah,
what we need to do, people, is we really need to vet the hearts of our teachers before we put them in
yeah,
this position.
yeah.
We
Because the
really,
world, the world is gives us a lot to handle, and and I understand, teachers are people too, and they have their everyday ups and downs and everyday struggles just as anyone else does. So you
that's
have to
right.
be mindful of that. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, beautiful, dear brother.
mhm.
For this next question, do you all have any form of personal counseling for students that may have behavioral issues or just having a bad day? Is there, somebody a teacher that they usually talk to, or, a place where they can go and get a resounding mind and a peace of mind?
Well, as far as the young ladies, they have all the teachers are there for them.
Come on.
Um, as far as the men, we have more uh, female teachers than male teachers, but the
Okay.
male teachers, they're i.e. coaches, tutors. So they and actually one of my teachers that's been there for a while, he's a member of the Circle of Brotherhood as well.
Okay.
And so they every, and we all have that experience that we know where it's not like we grew up with a silver spoon in our mouth, so we know what you might be going through. We know how to calm you down, you know.
Yes,
And if
sir.
you're having a bad day, you know, here's the thing that we allow them to we tell them all the time, if you're having a bad day, just come see us first before you go to the classroom and with the bad day. Because
That's right.
if you go in there with the bad day, you know how students could be, other children could be towards each other,
Yes, sir.
and if somebody sees that, then they can, you know, make it worse.
That's
And
right.
my wife is real good at picking up on that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
And but a lot of our students that do have, you know, the parents have, you know, some type of, you know, they had to get some kind of help, you know, to assist with the student. We do have counselors that come there every day, and they actually sit in the classroom with the students. And matter of fact, one day I thought one of the counselors was a student, and I was like, man, and I looked at him and I said, hold on, he's kind of old to be in this grade level. But then I had to realize he looked young, but and my secretary said, no, that's the counselor for a certain student. And I was like, oh wow, you know. And that's when I was starting to come back around, you know, on a daily basis. So yeah,
Yes.
we have people that come like not like, but every day they have. I mean, they have resources that, you know, and that's part of some of the things that, you know, even though you're in the private school, you're still part of the public school. You how would I say this? If I go out of business, I still have to send all my records to the Miami-Dade County public school system. So you're still under their district, you know, but you know, because the state tells you, you know, to kind of follow their guidelines or whatever. But yeah, a lot of times those, you know, counselors or whatever come in and they're funded through maybe some type of county organization or whatever. So, but yeah, we have that, and thank God, you know, we still have our little pushes or whatever, but we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have. You know, we've been, man, I'm telling you, we've been blessed to not have nothing. You know,
That's
I've seen some of the stuff, but you know,
man.
and I,
You know, it's
I thank
easier to
God.
get to the root of the
I
child's
thank God.
problem when we you know, it's easier to get to the root of the child's problem when they have that day. You know, when they
Yeah.
have that one day and we take the time to, what's on your
Oh
mind?
man.
What happened when you came from home to here? And they, you know, they let it out. You know, most of
Yeah.
us don't
Yeah.
know. They let it all the way out. And then you
Yeah.
go, oh, okay, come with me. Let's
Yeah.
just calm down. Let's get your mind right and be
Yeah.
able to. And it's beautiful that y'all have implemented this. It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It really.
Just the other day, Uh, I had to. I actually, and I get this from my brother Al in the Circle of Brotherhood. I, I I was talking to the young man, and the funny thing is, their parent went there, graduated from there, so now they're there. But
Wow.
and I was just talking to him, and when I walked in and saw him up front, I was like, okay, again today, and you know, he wanted to state his case,
Yes,
and he was telling me his case. You know, I asked a few questions just to, you know, get some clarity.
that's
And
right.
you can see him getting frustrated because he was like, I don't really want to answer these questions. So
That's right.
I just gave him a hug, man. And I got that from my brother Al. And the kids just went to like crying. I was like, hold up, man. I thought you was tough.
Man,
In my head, I ain't say that
man.
to him. You know, I was just like,
Yeah,
okay. I
that's
told him, you know,
right.
and I told him it's okay, you know, and I know in certain settings they'll tell you, oh, you can't do that to kids, but you know, just you know, that father embrace sometimes goes a long way.
That's
And,
right.
and the thing was, he actually got to go on the field trip yesterday because he was on the borderline. So he actually get to go,
Oh man.
and he was like, he was so happy, and
Oh,
he was so happy. So
oh man.
yeah, man,
That's awesome.
it be
That's
little
why we
stuff,
need
man.
to treat this youth, man. We gotta show them that it's okay for them to open up and that they actually have somebody to open up to. Because
Yeah,
you know that hard exterior is really just a lot of built up emotion and frustration, you
yes,
know.
sir.
And the moment that we take that extra time, and I love this quote that somebody gave me one day. They said, "Brother Anthony, the people will not care what you know until they know that you care. I took
Correct.
that from the day that I heard that, and I didn't expect anybody to be submissive to my knowledge until I proved to them that I was willing to see it through and not just give them the knowledge, but see that they use that knowledge and I can help them get to that successful point in their life behind that information. So,
Yes,
you know, that's absolutely beautiful, man. We need to implement this in our schools to have somebody that our young men, a masculine men that our young men can come to and see that they can just be free with, and with our young women to express themselves in this world where they got so much to worry about around them, to be able to get context and understanding from a woman, a strong woman that's able to speak to their life and their lifestyle. Man, that's absolutely beautiful, dear brother.
Yeah, I could, you know, in the public school setting, it's so much larger. So some, you know, I tell the students all the time, you know, if I had the opportunity to go back to school, go back to grade school, I would read a lot more, and not just to read, just to be reading, but it to build my confidence, because you know, we tend to want to say, I'm gonna go to the back of the class. She don't call me today.
Come on.
So over the years, you keep doing that, and you think, okay, all I gotta do is just pass the test, and then, but so when it get to the time to actually deal with stuff in real life, you still trying to slide to the back and never come to the forefront, and it kind of depletes your courage a little, as you know, as a man. You know, not to say that you can't get it, you know, just being tough, but and learning, you know, throughout, you know, outside of school, but it also educates you, because you that reading confidence. If you always like, let me read, and the more you reading and the more you're in front of people, like I tell them, one of the highest paid position jobs is public speaking. Like those people get paid just to speak for 45 minutes. You know, if I go do 5 engagements in a day, I might make a whole lot of money, and of course book deals come with that. So that's money that just comes where you don't have to do anything too much anymore. You know, you don't have to do anything but speak, you know, to people, and encourage people, and let them read what you wrote. So, but yeah, and I commend the, you know, in the public school, I commend those coaches and things of that nature that deal with students, excuse me, on an everyday basis, because you know, the youth tend to have a lot of stuff going on, and you know, I don't like to say, well, when we were younger, we didn't have all. We did. It's just how you dealt with it, and you know, that's how you deal with it. And if you see one struggling or whatever, you want to be there for them and say, hey, look, let me help you out. And of course, you get some who, you know, I was the same way. Sometimes some people want to seem like they trying to get too close to you, make you too perfect or too good. So you try to, like, man, you know, it's just like if you know, when you become that teenager, I'm tired of going to church every Sunday or whatever. So I'm gonna do whatever it is not to go no more. You know, so yeah, that's where we are. I know we kind of got off the subject of the school thing, but
no,
you know,
man, that's all right. You know, we get.
Very beginning, I told you we keep it as like a family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, that's beautiful. It seems like you got to do a lot less structurally when the heart is there. You know, what you structure in the heart for, the heart just goes and it moves, and it, you know, it acts on its goodwill. And as long as we have that in mind for our students, we should be able to, you know, to come up with a solution to any problem that they may have. You know, we already, as people who reflect us in our race and just our depiction, we know what we've been through what a lot of these young men and women are going through. So you know, it's good for them to have a reflection of themselves, to know that, okay, the person who even is in charge of my school is a Black man, and I could be learning from somebody in my community to be an intelligent Black man or woman. So man, that's beautiful, dear brother. And for this next question,
okay,
what mindsets are absolutely needed to maintain and sustain the school? Just, you know, just a few things that come, the most important, you know, training of the mind that you would need to just withhold what it means to sustain the school.
From my aspect personally, me being fair and honest with everyone, you know, that's one thing. I'm really fair with everyone. You know, it's some things, you know, that I don't drop the hammer on everyone. You know, you could say, hey, I can get rid of this person just because or whatever. But you have to, you know, I even speak with them on a, you know, because sometimes you hear their issues that they have going on.
That's right.
So I was like, but you know, we can't, you know, we're still trying to run a business, and
that's right.
And speaking of running the business, I always tell everyone when we have our meetings, no matter how you might look at it, this is still a business. It's in liability supersedes anything. So if you see it becoming a liability or anything that you might be thinking of or wanting to do, the liability, even though it might fall back on me, if it's in this part of the ethics training, if it's something unethical or whatever, you know, and unlawful, that, you know, it's going to be hard for me to pay my lawyer to cover you. But at the same time, just be mindful that this is still a business, and that's how the outside world looks at it. Even though it's a private school, it's still a legal entity within these walls of the United States of America. So you have to make sure that you're doing everything above board and ethical. So that's one of the things that I constantly, you know, preach to them about. I ain't gonna say preach, but talk to them about as far as what we have to do and keep on the front of their minds all the time. What else do I kind of speak about all the time? It's a few things that I talk to them all the time about, especially with my staff to keep it going. I let them make a lot of decisions, you know. I you know, when we have those little meetings, what do you think? And what do you think?
Right.
You know, I don't know. I just
inclusion, you know.
Yeah, at some point, like I say, by me being just being, i.e., the owner, even though I'm still, you know, a phone call away, I still, you know, what you know, what'll keep you there, you know, what can we do to keep you, you know, before you even think about going, you know, I can kind of sense maybe, you know, if say you're missing days a lot, and you know, in my mind, I done seen it where out of the blue is another job. You can say, hey, I'm looking into, you know, doing this career. Like we had one teacher that was going to nursing school, and I already knew once she finished, she probably was going to leave, and that's pretty much what happened. But you know, it was nothing like, oh, I'm gonna just hide and do it secretly. You know, like I say, I'm not Mr. Sweeting the boss. I used to hate that. You know, I'm just Mr. Sweeting. You know, it depends on who you are. You can call me Chris, but most of the time, you know, it's Mr. Sweeting because I call everyone by their last name. Even when I'm talking to my wife in the building, unless I'm in the office with her, I'll call her sweetheart. But if I'm in front of someone, I'll say Mr. Sweeting. So I have that respect for everyone, and make sure you know, we have respect for each other. You know, we don't. There's things in our handbooks and our guidelines that we, you know, that I put in there that they some of them ask like, why, you know, and I'm like, because it keeps the tension down. That's why, you know. And they like, oh, okay, you know, like you know, we men and women, and oh, she cute, he cute, oh, he just not, you know. So, but to keep the tension down, you know, not to say you can't, but at least don't be hiding it. And then next thing I know, y'all in here fussing and arguing about something that nobody knew anything about. You know, we all adults. Just say, we don't have to know what you're doing. Just know that, hey, look, you know, we went out a couple times. You know, don't try to, because relationships could cause tension, and if you're not married, it's kind of hard to, you know. And that's with big companies, you know, even with AT&T, you know, if I'm a supervisor, my wife can't work under me.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
It's gonna conflict the interest. You know, so that's as simple as that. So it's little stuff that I kind of keep pointing out to them that they got to stay, you know, and that kind of keeps. That's what I'm telling you, man. We keep it simple, and
that's right.
I let them know up front, you know, what I expect, and nothing different. And
man,
you know,
we gotta keep it simple. You know what's crazy? When I was growing up, right, I went to a charter school called Sankofa Shule. Now,
Uh-huh.
this was an African diaspora-based school.
Mm-hmm.
All Black students and all teaching from Kemet, Egypt, being brung over from the principal of our school. She was so serious about our education that it
Yes,
was
sir.
such a beautiful thing. And I really think, Brother Chris, that if it was
Mm-hmm.
a private school, I think that the school would still be operating today. I think that the things that we were
Yeah.
teaching, the city would not allow a separate doctrine to
Mm-hmm.
become successful under their tutelage, because
So,
then you have, it's a separate doctrine.
yeah, it could. Yeah. Right.
When I think if we would have privatized it, that we had enough love in our hearts for that school to be able to maintain it.
Yeah.
That's why I just commend what it means to have a private school. And I think I'm just going to recommend for people to do that now that I know the difference between private and charter.
Yeah.
And it was just such a beautiful school. I mean, absolutely
Right.
amazing from the time you walk in to the time you
Right.
walk
Right.
out. That family atmosphere, man. I mean,
Correct.
we call
Correct.
teachers Baba in the women who were teachers Mama in front of their name.
Oh,
So we
wow.
would say,
Yeah.
Baba
Yeah.
out, Mama Carmen, and
Right. Right.
yes, sir. My father and my mother actually worked at the school
See?
at the same time. You see, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a few more couples, like you said,
Yeah.
working within the school. And at times, as a child, now that I'm remembering, you could see the certain tension a little bit.
Right.
But they
Right.
would never
Right.
put it in our forefront. They would never let us notice it
Correct.
in an obvious manner. So, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes,
But
man.
like I say, keep that. That's why. I mean, I led off with that, and that you really like it or love what you're doing, and it, more like a family unit. So it's like everything I really talk about when I'm really talking to people who are interested in this. That's really how I talk to them, like
Yes.
about it. You know, the educational part of it. You can change curriculums any and all every day. You know,
That's right.
the curriculum
That's right.
change you could change if you want to,
Come
but
on.
the concept of how to maintain and continue the business and hope people, know that people really enjoy working for you. I couldn't believe one day my barber called me, say, "Man, who that is on the radio?" I said, "What do you mean? Somebody just gave a shout out." I said, "Yeah, one time for Mr. and Mrs. Sweeting." They kept saying it over and over. And I'm like, they said the name of your school. He said, "Hold on, that's." And then they said your name. I said, "Man, I got to call him." He said, "You listen to the radio?" I say, "No, I'm not listening to the radio." He like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm all on the radio." I said, "Oh, wow." So I got there. I was like, "Yeah," I said, "Somebody gave me like, yeah." I was like, "Oh, thank you." I
Yes,
told
sir.
I was, hey,
Yeah, yes, sir. Man, it seemed like the more you work and the more you establish the success and the proof behind what anything that you got established can do, whether it's a school, man, and the students that come out of it, the people see, oh man, you came through that school. That's how we were recognized as students of my old school. People
correct.
could just know just by our
Mhm.
knowledge, the way we carried ourselves. Oh,
Yes,
you go to
sir.
that school, we know something about yourself. We
Yeah.
know that you got some self-love and
Mhm.
something to go forth on the world with. And just for the people that would really considering having their children a part of the Center of Life Academy,
Mhm.
what can you tell them about this school that would make them feel secure in their children's progression and their future?
Okay. Well, like I say, one of the things if you come to the Center of Life Academy and you need that true one-on-one small classroom environment, the opportunity to be heard, we there for you. We cater to pretty much your levels until we can kind of get you back to either on that level. And speaking of that, one of the things I do encourage, because I did it when I was in school, is the peer counseling type thing. So if you're good at this, you're now a tutor or a counselor with this student over here that needs that help. So we
Yes,
all work together. So
yes,
because that's one of the things to keeping the child's attention. one might say, "Oh, I know that," and want to move on much faster, and then next thing you know, they're disrupting the other ones from learning. So you
That's
kind of pair them up where they can help each other. That's the key to a small environment. I mean,
right.
small school setting.
Mhm.
Um, what else? If you're interested in coming to Center of Life, like I say, we one big happy family. We do everything just as much as the public school does. We have fun. We know it, everybody knows everybody. You know, where
Mhm.
everybody knows your name. It's cheers.
Yes, sir. Come
So
on. Yeah.
come. You know, we're accredited. We teach Bible in our school.
Yes.
So the students do, and we do pray. You know, so
Yes.
we're not afraid
Awesome.
to do that, you know,
Mhm.
even though some places say,
Come on.
you know, you can't, but we do.
That's right.
Um,
Yes,
so,
sir.
so those are some of the, you know, the key aspects of our school, and we also we feed them good. You know,
Oh,
they
beautiful.
get real food. They don't get
He
the
said,
regular
y'all
food.
got the ones when you rip it open and you just got they just look like lasagna all over the
Yeah,
place. Yes,
yeah,
sir, man. Those are some
yeah,
beautiful key
yeah.
points right there. I think every parent will want their child to be in a
Yeah.
loving,
Once you get to
understanding.
know us,
Come
yeah.
on.
Once you
That's
get to know us, you'll be like, wow, Mr.
yes,
and Mrs. Sweet. And I tell them it ain't just me, Mr. and Mrs. Sweeting, it's the whole staff. You know,
yes, sir.
they know. They
That's right.
know. They get all the credit. They get
Come
all the
on.
credit.
Come
You know.
on.
I just
Man.
try to keep the business aspect, keep the doors open and lights on.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir. Man,
So
very awesome answer there, my
yeah.
brother. And then for the last question of
Okay.
today and for this interview, how can they start? How can they get started with the enrollment process today?
Uh you can either one come by the school. We're at 4850 Northwest 17th Avenue in the city of Miami. Um the big blue building I call it because
Yes,
when you drive down the street, we're the biggest building on the block. So I
yes, sir.
always tell them the big blue building. You see, I have on my blue today.
That's
Um,
right.
then, or you can go on our website and you can um, go to admission. And like I say, we'll see if you can apply for a scholarship. We have a young lady that's there that handles all of that. When I tell you that, you know, having the right people in place takes a lot of burden off, a lot of business decisions that you have to make. They deal with it and it's done.
Yes,
You don't even have to look back, you know, as far as the paperwork goes. And
yes,
I was blessed enough now I can promote other staff to administration, you know, so that kind of helps my wife a little bit more, you know.
sir.
Um,
Yes,
you could just give a school a phone call at 305-571-9191. And
yes,
easy to remember, 305-571-9191. And we'll be more than happy to talk to you. Or if you know somebody, they'll tell you. Trust
yes,
me. They know about Center Life Academy. We've been around a while. We've been
yes.
around a while, you know.
Awesome.
Our name, Center Life Academy, actually, I changed it in 2009 school year. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir. Man,
yes, sir.
beautiful, dear brother. So what people watching right now, if we really serious about establishing these schools, the things I got from this is you make
Mhm.
sure you got you a standard and efficient budget,
Yeah,
a budget that can have an engine of its own so that it never runs out,
correct.
get yourself a lawyer,
Yes,
in
mhm,
the yes, sir, get yourself a real estate agent, but one that actually knows about the area, one
correct.
that's from
Mhm,
that area, can give you the demographics and things of that area.
correct.
You
Hmm.
know, make sure that you got, is it fiscal or piscal soundness?
Fiscal, like
Fiscal.
the year, yeah.
Yes,
I,
sir. Okay. Get
FIS.
Yes, sir. Get you some fiscal soundness. Make sure you are able to prove that you can maintain it.
Yeah.
Man, background check the parties involved. Get your zoning, your business certificates down pat.
Yes, sir.
And make sure that when you're starting this off, that everybody involved, nobody is a liability, because when one person is a liability, that means that that's like one wheel on the car not is
Yeah.
flat. You know, you
Yeah.
still can't, even though the 3 are working, man, that 4th
Right.
one is such a big problem, you know. So,
Yeah. And then
man,
and that's when you need that lawyer.
yes.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, so he said the lawyer know where the responsibility comes
Yeah.
from, and the
Yeah.
yes, sir. Man,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful breakdown. I think that's what anybody would need to know in full and in total to be able to go ahead and begin their own process of starting this school. I think you eliminated a lot of the
Yeah.
mistakes that we
Oh,
could
and
make.
your accountant, make sure you have a good accountant too,
Yes,
because
sir.
like I say,
Yes.
they now even with that also you still you have to do as you grow.
Mhm.
There's a certain threshold of funds that you get, and once you pass that threshold, you have to do an annual review of your budget of your expense, like just of where all the funds went at it. You know, your
Yes,
payroll,
sir.
everything. So yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
so I
Oh man.
when they first started, the first 3 years, I was trying to get to that number. Now I'm in the running every year. Like
Oh man.
my accountant already know. So you just
Man.
got to be on top of your bookkeeping and everything. So
Yes, sir.
it's a business. It's a
That's right.
business.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's a business.
Man, beautiful. A lot of people don't know about the business of schooling. And you know, if you was in
Right.
a public school, they would grade your school and you would get funding depending on your grade due to the
Right.
demographic of the students and the grades within the school. Man, it's
Right.
really like a
Yeah.
big plot to say, man, if you got an uneducated area, you'll have low funding, you know, and
Yes.
it's
Yes.
we can eliminate that just by supporting and wanting to do something for ourselves that doesn't involve that process, because that's actually a very capitalistic process to where they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to evenly distribute funds.
Right.
Right. So, you
You
know,
know.
man, we want to
Yeah,
be able to avoid
that's a
that.
whole nother conversation, man.
Man, yes,
I,
sir.
I
Yes,
was
sir.
avoiding that part of it.
So, dear brother, actually,
I
when
was
you
trying.
have the
Oh,
time,
the other thing is,
yes, sir.
we, you have to do your annual testing. So that's part of being under the Department of Education. You have to test, just like we don't like when they had the FCAT and all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
We have a choice of different type of tests that we can use. But
Awesome.
it's a list that you can choose from as a private school, but you still have to do it, which is
Yes, sir.
which is you know how do they say it in the Department of Education? You have to be how do responsible, like you have to give your parents a feedback. So
Mm,
they get report cards, the progress reports, but the parent has to be acknowledged of what's going on with their child, and and so we issue report cards, progress report. Everything is similar to the public school, and we do our testing closer towards the end. I used to do it twice a year, and then I realized it would just cost me a whole lot of money, and
yes.
just do it like the public school was doing it, because I was like, I'm gonna do it twice, because I want to get the scores up, but just educate them and they'll go up on their own. So I've
That's
been
right.
blessed that way. So yeah,
That's right there, brother. If
yeah.
you ever get
So,
the opportunity to, I just recently interviewed my father, who just so happens to be the number 14th ranked educational guru of the world.
wow.
Um, yes, sir. And is yes, sir, one of the most established educational consultants in America. And that's where I got the information about, the funding from government to local
Yeah.
schools and things of that nature to the
Yes,
state.
sir.
And so when you get the opportunity to, man, I think it'd be lovely if you visited that interview on the page.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Man, he gave some lovely insider information on the new establishment of what schools are post-pandemic,
Yeah.
and I
Mhm.
think it gives some very great context. And I'm just gonna suggest that people right now watching you share this video right now, so that all
Right.
of our youth, all of our striving people looking to educate our youth in our community could get a good foundation and a blueprint to how easy it really is if you put your mind to it and you have
Right.
a unified front, man. And this was such a lovely interview, and you do a very important thing in our community, brother. We want to
Thank you
thank
very
you,
much.
brother Chris Sweden, for joining us and giving us some guidance behind this the terrain of this school system.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like I said, this is my first time ever doing an interview. So I mean, at first I was like, what am I'm gonna talk about? But then, like my
Yes,
wife
sir.
said, you've been talking about it forever. So I
Come
mean, it
on
should be
now.
simple to you, you know?
That's
So
right. That's right.
the subject matter really don't change because so many people over the years have come to me about this. So,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, but it's
Yes.
all in here. It's all in
That's
here.
That's right.
All
That's
right.
all it needs to be in. So,
Yeah.
man, beautiful people who have tuned in this whole time. We want to thank you for showing up and giving us the opportunity to give you some education on how we can establish these independent networks of education. My name is Brother Anthony Muhammad. I thank you for sticking in there with me. As y'all know, I am new to this platform. You all have been very supportive, and we continue to ask you for your support. We love you, family. Again, I want to say peace and blessings and assalamu alaikum. And I hope that you all have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you.
Blessing, my brother. Thank you.